We're budgeting $7,000 to go to Disney World for a family of 4. We'll be looking at costs in 5 categories: hotel stay, park tickets, travel costs, food, and extra goodies. In this challenge, you'll see where we're able to save and where we choose to spend. Can we make the magic happen? A lot of people don't budget their Disney trips at all because the very first step, which is figuring out how much you can spend, is painful. So one easy rule of thumb is to allocate around 5 to 8% of your yearly income for vacation in general. So if your family makes $75,000 a year, that's a vacation budget of roughly $4,000 to $6,000. If your family makes $150,000 a year, that's a vacation budget of around $8,000 to $12,000. Figuring out when you're going on vacation also plays a pretty big role in the overall cost. So figuring out your work schedule, school calendars, and other vacations too. But different times of the year change the ticket prices for one, but also the experiences you can do. For example, you've probably heard that Disney World is pretty cool at Christmas, but naturally that's one of the more expensive times to go. Other expensive times of the year include right around April with spring break and Thanksgiving. On the other hand, the lowest price times of the year can sometimes conflict with your regular work schedule or school calendar, but they can help on the cost side. These times of the year are January, September, and December, right in between Thanksgiving and Christmas. For this challenge, we're planning our trip during October, which is a regular price time of the year to go, using a baseline budget of $7,000 to cover a family of 4, which is 2 adults, 1 child over 10, 1 under 10, and a 6-day, 5-night stay.
Where you stay for any Disney trip is a big part of how much you'll spend and what you'll be able to do both at the resort and at the parks. Disney breaks down its resorts into 4 types: value, value plus, moderate, and deluxe. Value start around $100 to $400 per night, and just like it sounds, value plus costs slightly more, around $150 to $580 per night. Moderate resorts offer more amenities than the value and value plus resorts with price tags to match, ranging from $190 to $600 per night. Then we've got deluxe, baby. Want to stay in the best? You've got to pay the price of $450 to $3,500 per night. Want even better? Try a deluxe villa offered at various deluxe resorts, ranging from $600 to $4,000 per night. If you're not staying on property, it can help with your budget, but you lose a lot of the benefits of staying on a Disney property, especially when it comes to transportation. So keep in mind any parking costs that might be associated with your hotel, and especially at the Disney World parks. The Disney Good Neighbor hotels include some like Buena Vista Suites, ranging from $150 to $300 per night, and the Holiday Inn Resort Orlando, Lake Buena Vista, ranging from about $100 to $200 per night. For our trip, we're choosing to stay at Port Orleans Riverside, costing $1,950 for our stay. Now, this 6-day, 5-night package allows for 4 full days in the park, and then an arrival and departure day for things like Disney Springs or some much-needed resort time.
Park tickets are going to go hand in hand with your hotel stay, and the prices can fluctuate based on the time of the year and even the day of the week. So, like, weekend tickets are usually going to be more expensive than weekdays, and special events even have extra tickets sometimes for you to buy. So when you're booking your hotel through the Disney website, you have the option to add tickets directly onto your order. So for our trip example here, the tickets rang in around $2,300. Doing it this way makes it a little difficult to see exactly how much the tickets are. So we also love to use Undercover Tourist, which gives you kind of a calendar view of the tickets and lets you get them usually a little cheaper than on the Disney website. Now you've got to figure out, are you going to drive or are you flying to Disney World? There's 2 pretty strong camps on this one. There's my dedicated drivers, but there's also my flyers who will never put a car within 10 miles of Disney World. So the easiest flight for us is Delta from RDU to MCO. You could save a little bit on that if you choose more of a budget airline or maybe different times of the day, or you could go more expensive if you're a first class flyer and want the luxury upgrades. So if you plan on driving, you will save on flight costs, offset a little bit by gas, but you'll also need to remember parking costs at hotels and at the parks. If you do drive to the parks, it's a daily fee of $25. So depending on how you want to get to the parks, you do have some options. So that's one big benefit of staying on property is the free transportation to and from the parks, like buses or at some resorts the Skyliner and some the monorail. If you do want to take advantage of things like that, you might have to be a little flexible on which hotels you stay in, which could drive the price of your stay up. On this trip, we'll be able to keep the travel cost pretty much to the flight and the transportation to and from the airport. Because staying at French Quarter, we'll pretty much be able to take buses everywhere and utilize that free transportation option.
As an example, we usually eat at the kiosks in Magic Kingdom, but we spend more time and money on table service and festival meals while in Epcot. You're not going to Disney and not eating, so here's what you can expect to spend. Depending on where and what you choose to eat, generally expect to spend about $50 to $100 per day per person on food. The baseline cost includes quick service meals, snacks, and 2 table service meals, totaling around $1,500 for a family of 4. This is about $305 per day or $75 per person per day. If you want to save some money, you can opt for only quick service meals and snacks. But if you're looking for a more special dining experience, places like Be Our Guest offer higher priced menus. Mini ears and lightsabers are the breakers of budgets, so whatever you do, don't forget about the goodies. You're probably going to go home with some Disney magic, and we suggest allocating about $50 per person for extra purchases. For example, one t-shirt runs about $35. So whether it's a pair of ears, other souvenirs, or a unique experience like building a lightsaber in Batuu for about $250, make sure you plan for it.
All right, so how did we do? We wanted to fit this trip for a family of 4 into a budget of $7,000. We ended up with a 6-day, 5-night stay at Port Orleans Riverside. And here's how the final cost stacked up.
Percentage-wise, the resort and park tickets were a combined 61% of the total cost. So some things that we learned from this are that some areas are not as flexible as others when it comes to budgeting. So things like your park tickets have a pretty fixed rate unless you're able to find some discounts on things like Undercover Tourist or if Disney's running a promotion, as well as things like travel costs. Those are also pretty fixed and generally depend on when you're able to travel and what those costs are going to be at that time. There are also areas where you can choose to spend more or save more depending on what works best for you and your family, like choosing the best resort that works for your needs, as well as budgeting things like food. You could literally eat at a park kiosk for every meal or choose to dine in luxury for your entire Disney stay.
Do you think we did well? How would you budget it differently? Let us know in the comments and challenge us with a budget. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Kathleen.
Thanks for watching.